Hey, Stux here. Today I'm going to go over some more questions from my Discord, from the Ask Stux Anything channel. If you want to ask your own questions to a professional level coach, then simply join the Discord down in the description, post your questions and Ask Stux Anything. I always answer every single question that is in that channel, and I have done so for well over a year now. The first question is by The Night Moon. He asks, do you know any way to avoid tunnel vision as well as going on autopilot? So autopiloting and tunnel visioning are two separate issues. Generally speaking, autopiloting is something that happens when you don't have any goals at all, when there's nothing that you actively focus on. Goals could be trying to play around corners more, trying not to get split from your main tank, trying to focus more on shield pressure, trying to hold on to your ultimate a little bit longer, right? Those are all goals that you can focus on. If you have a goal like that and you go into a game, it is very difficult to autopilot because you can just focus on that goal. If you don't have any goals, you're going to autopilot. There's nothing for you to focus on. Tunnel vision is on the opposite end. Tunnel visioning happens when you have too many goals, when you tell yourself, I need to fix my positioning and my game sense, my ult usage, my aim and everything. That doesn't get you anywhere. What's going to end up happening is that you're trying to focus on so many things, you're going to end up focusing on nothing at all, which we call tunnel vision, right? You're so overloaded that you just tunnel vision onto one thing in order to kind of cut down on the sensory input and the thought that you have to go through. So how do you get goals? VOD review. It's the whole point behind VOD review. Call your gameplay or just use the replay viewer. There's really no excuse at this point. Look at your gameplay. Just find something to work on, just something. Maybe you're not using your storm arrow often enough. Maybe you're not using this cooldown. Maybe you're getting dove too often. Maybe you need to position more safely. Maybe you're not focusing the same targets as your team. There's all of these different goals that you can find and that you can start working on, that you can start making actual tangible improvement in your gameplay and start climbing up the ranks. That way you get goals, and those goals prevent you from either tunnel visioning or autopiloting. And the next question is by CR2Anime. This is kind of a follow-up to the last question. How often should I perform self-VOD reviews? So as a kind of follow-up to that last question, generally you shouldn't do VOD reviews on like a regular schedule unless you're playing for a team where reviews are usually a daily or a bi-daily thing. Mainly because the teams progress through their goals fairly quickly and they need constant reminders. When you're just playing on your own and you're trying to climb in ranked, then you need to do VOD reviews on a goal-by-goal basis. Maybe you're focusing on a very specific goal and it's a goal that takes a little bit of time. A good example of this goal is, let's say you are a Grandmaster support main. You want to start getting into team play, so the personal goal that you've set for yourself is you want to become more accurate with your ult tracking, you want to become more confident. That is a goal that can take a while, that can take some players up to 1 or 2 weeks, right? Whereas some other goals can take 2, 3, maybe even just a single day to complete. In that case, you might do a VOD review and then not do another VOD review until you're comfortable with your ult tracking. But with smaller goals that are fairly easy to fix, for example, maybe you're playing Zen, you're being a little panicky with your trans, and you want to get better at holding onto your trans, that is something that you can fix in a day or 2. So you fix it, you move on, do another review, come up with more goals to work on. Generally, if you would have to give it a number, I would say 2 to 3 days is appropriate based on how long it takes for the average player to, work on the goals in a lower rating, although keep in mind that certain issues, especially at higher ranks, are going to take longer or at very, very low ranks, right? So if you're at a very, very low rank and, for example, you're not very confident in your movement, maybe your movement is very stiff or you're standing still a lot, that is again something that is going to take quite a while. Now that said, you should never feel pressure to do a VOD review. If you already have a goal, if you feel like you're making progress, you don't necessarily have to do a VOD review. Although that said, you can also make VOD reviews to see progress. Right? So for example, you can look back at one of your wins and you can do some positive reinforcement. Focus on the goal that you've been focusing on and see if you're making any progress in that. And if you are, that's great, you're going in the right direction. Or if you aren't, then maybe you need to change up your approach. Maybe you need to research a little bit more in what it is you're trying to work on in order to make more progress. But the last question is by Crack Up. A lot of the time when we lose a fight, I watch teammates trickle in instead of waiting to regroup. Usually it's a DPS trying to deal safe damage while waiting for the regroup, and they don't realize they're not safe. I find this happening a lot in Plat. What do I need to be doing when this is happening? I play flex support. So something that a lot of players do, especially in low ranks, is they end up regrouping and they see their teammates trickling in, and then they tell themselves, oh my god, okay, I just need to play safe, make sure that I don't die myself, and wait until my teammates manage to regroup. That is not what you should do. If your teammates are trickling, if they're going in, trying to go for a peek, and they end up dying over and over again, the worst thing you can do is sit back and do nothing. you need to walk up and you need to apply pressure yourself. That way, you're drawing the attention of the enemy team towards you. The attention of the enemy team is on you, it's not on your teammates. If the enemy team isn't looking at your teammates cannot feed, right? So essentially, by moving up and playing with them, you're giving the enemy team an additional target, except that ideally you know your limits, you know when to go back and cover, you know how to move properly, right? So it's better for them to focus you than your teammates. Especially if we look at a flex support, right? As a flex support with both Ana and Zenyatta, great poke potential. Especially in Zenyatta, you should be looking for picks so that when your team is regrouped, you can use that pick to get a head start in terms of momentum and go in and then win the fight off of that. Or if you're Ana, going in, maybe applying shield pressure, trying to, just farm up your nano boost a little, those things are very, very helpful. Or you can just sit around in the back doing nothing for 20 seconds. Also, keep in mind that regroups are always based around your main tank. If your main tank isn't with you, then it's regroup time, you need to relax. If your main tank is there, then you need to stay with your main tank under all circumstances. The main tank coming out of spawn is essentially what defines the regroup. Alright, that is it for this video. If you want to ask your own questions, down in the description, click on the Discord link. You can post your own questions and I'm going to get back to them. And the better questions actually get featured in this video. You can also follow me on Twitter and you can subscribe to the channel as well, which I would appreciate. My name is Airstux and I'd like to thank you for learning.